Hello, welcome to episode 3 of the Some Loser podcast. I'm Claire Stanfield, and one thing I wanted to do with this podcast is I kind of wanted to make it a podcast for all sorts of entertainment, so anime, cartoons, manga, comics, and one thing I'm definitely going to be talking about a lot is the DC Rebirth universe, or DC Universe Rebirth, whatever you want to call it. But I've been keeping up with pretty much every series in the Rebirth line, including Young Animal, Hanna-Barbera, etc. So, and I usually buy the volumes for all of them. So I'm like, well, what can I do with these? Oh, let's fucking review them. That'll give them something else to do instead of just make my shelf look nicer. And so to start it all off, you have to start from the beginning, which is the DC Universe Rebirth special, which was the most hype thing to come out in a long fucking time. And just looking at the cover, you see all the I was gonna say all the greats, but I just saw fucking Cyborg and Batgirl, and not Cassandra, it's fucking Barbara. God, please just make Cassandra Batgirl, make Barbara Oracle again. I hate Barbara as Batgirl. She's such a cunt. Jesus Christ, she's the fucking worst. It's literally like being crippled and raped made her a better person, which is an awful thing to say, but honestly, she is a million times better as Oracle. She's useful as fuck. She puts her smarts and like technological knowledge to like use, and she doesn't act like a self-entitled cunt because she's humbled because she can't use her goddamn legs anymore and she's fucking traumatized. But then she gets to be Batgirl again, and it's like she loses everything that made her an actual good character for once. She's back to just being a shithead. And then all these fucking new males are like, oh, I love Batgirl. I want to give her a movie and a TV series. Oh, yeah, I'm not sick, but I still have a cough, so I had the flu for a week, which is why I was gone for a week, which I don't think anyone really noticed, but whatever. So if I cough, that's why. But Cyborg, he's not a bad character. It's just, what does he really do? His only known villain, really, is Grid, and the crime syndicate's not even around anymore. So it's like, what villains do you really have? There's also Starfire. Again, not a bad character, but what villains do you really have? Like, really? You're gonna put fucking Cyborg and Starfire on there when there's better Titans from the Mara Wolfman lineup? Like, well, I guess they can't put Wally on there because it kind of would have spoiled what happens, but you could have Nightwing. Fucking Beast Boy was in Doom Patrol a long time ago, so even he has more villains than Cyborg and Starfire. Raven at least has Trigon. I don't know. But there's also Shazam on here, and we still haven't really seen him. I mean, he makes a cameo in Hellblazer, but besides that, like, where are you at? Where are you at? I miss you, Shazam. I know Jeff Johns says he has something planned for you, which means I have to fucking wait for goddamn Doomsday Clock to roll along, which it just got bumped down to bi-monthly. So instead of just being a monthly series, I now gotta wait 2 months for issue 4, which means I gotta wait even longer to figure out where the fuck the goddamn Shazam and Marvel family are. Martian Manhunter's on here, which he just came around in issue 5 of Dark Knight's Metal, which everyone's like making these headcanons of where the fuck Martian Manhunter's been, and he's like, nah, I've just been bumming around. What up? Like, fuck you, John. But I'm glad Martian Manhunter's back, and the No Justice lineup and line of series looks really fucking hype. So, yeah, let's get into it. Also, I'm pretty sure that, on the cover, the hand that Superman's trying to touch is Dr. Manhattan, but it could also be Wally, but I'm pretty sure it's Manhattan. Okay, so let's start off. So the first page is, it's Wally talking. There's a bunch of dialogue boxes talking, and colors are red and orange. So it doesn't really say who it is, but in a couple pages we'll learn to see that it's Wally. And there's a clock for some reason with blood in it and rust. And honestly, that should have been some kind of indication that there's something time related or watch related going on. But how the fuck was anyone supposed to know what was fucking up? But anyways, so the next page is a lightning storm going on around the world, which is the Speed Force lightning. And you see Bruce looking on the supercomputer at New 52 Soups, since in the final issue of New 52 Superman, Superman goes missing, which pretty much is kind of dead, but whatever. Because we got Pre-Soups back, and he got rid of the annoying ass fuck neck thing. Like, I'm sorry, I like Pre-52 Soups, and I like New 52 Soups, but the neck thing on New 52 Soups costume, no, I fucking hate it. I usually forget about it until I see, like, anything from New 52. I'm like, oh yeah, he had a neck thing. It's like the head thing that Superman has in the Injustice 2. I fucking hate it. Why is it there? Like, even his armor, like, he doesn't get any cool headpieces. Like, the fuck? Why? Why bring it? I don't know. Anyway, so then Batman's looking at his computer and shit, and he pulls up the 3 different eras of Joker, because in Justice League New 52, when Batman took Metron's chair and became Batgod, he asked what's Joker's real name, and he found out that there's not actually one Joker, but there's been 3 Jokers this whole time, and we still haven't really got that resolved yet. And King said he's doing 100 issues of Batman, and I think we either just got into 40s or we're just gonna get into issue 50. So we're about close to halfway over. So I'm guessing he's saving the 3 Jokers for last. And for No Justice number 0, I know he's doing a Joker story, so maybe we'll get some more insight there. Who knows? But a flash of lightning hits Batcave and knocks Bruce out of his chair. And then the next fucking page, the next goddamn page, if I can turn the page, you know what, I'm going to use my left hand, is my boy Wally West, a.k.a. the best fucking Flash. And Wally pretty much says, Bruce, I need your help. You have to be my lightning rod because no one remembers me. But, my name's Wally. But, of course, Bruce isn't the lightning rod that Wally's looking for, and he gets put back into the Speed Force. But, the lightning hits the wall right where Bruce has the leather from his father from Flashpoint, and it kind of gives him indication of what's going on, and the leather falls to the floor. And so this causes Bruce to pay attention to the wall. And so Wally's put back in Speed Force, and he explains his origins of who he is and kind of all the important things that happened. And when Barry died saving the universe from the Anti-Monitor, he became the Flash, and then Barry came back, and then Flashpoint happened, and he kind of got like sucked into the Speed Force, and he's been gone for like 10 years. Now he needs to find lightning rod. And that's the end of chapter 1, which is called Lost. Then chapter 2 begins with an old man being chased, the old man being Johnny Thunder, who was a part of the Justice Society, but with New 52, the Justice Society was kind of removed. So the next person that Wally tries to, the next lightning rod that Wally tries is Johnny Thunder, but it doesn't really seem like Johnny knows well, I think he knows who Wally is. He just doesn't care because he's trying to find the Justice Society, because I guess he did something to make the Justice Society go away, and that's why there's no Justice Society and no Johnny Thunder and no Genie in the New 52 universe. But it seems he remembers the pre-52 universe, but since he's old as fuck and in a nursing home, no one really knows who he is. Honestly, with Doomsday Clock and this, just the whole entire Johnny Thunder storyline has been breaking my goddamn heart, especially in the latest issue of Doomsday Clock, which at the moment is issue 3. Anyway, so next person is the police talking to a girl who has a Legion flight ring, and I'm pretty sure the girl is Saturn Girl. So I think this kind of sets. I think this was the setup, or no. Never mind. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of Let me just make sure I have. Yeah, it's Saturn Girl. Sorry, I was thinking this might be the setup for Justice League versus Suicide Squad, but then I was mixing up Emerald Empress with Saturn Girl. I don't know why I was, but then we next cut to Ryan Choi being chewed out by one of his professors, and he goes to talk to Professor Palmer, and he sees a bunch of mail under his office door, so he uses the key that Palmer gave him to go into his office, and he finds a message from Professor Palmer saying he went to the microverse because someone's been messing it up, and he's been missing for a while now. And we find out in Justice League of America that someone, or Manhattan, has been messing with the microverse and is causing it to destroy itself. And then Ryan kind of fixes it, and Palmer decides to stay behind the microverse and explore it and help any problems he can find. So that's where Ray is now. So next person we cut to is Jamie talking to Ted Cord while Ted's working on the Flying Beetle, and then Jamie says he has to go, so he transforms into Blue Beetle and he flies away, and Dr. Fate shows up and tells Ted that him and Jamie are messing with things and magic they shouldn't be, which anytime I see Dr. Fate, I get extremely hyped, and I'm still hoping that that Jamie gets rid of the Scarab and Ted becomes the new Blue Beetle. And now that Booster Gold is back in, I think Action Comics, yeah. I'm hoping that we get a Ted and Booster team-up comic sometime soon, because, God, they are the fucking best. They are one of the best team-ups in comic book history. So the next page is a montage of characters. Damien smiling at his 13th birthday cake, which is when he gets the idea to form the Teen Titans. Jessica is talking to Hal using her ring, and she asks who's Sinestro. And then Jackson is talking to his mom, and stuff about him being gay and him having Atlantean powers and stuff. And then the bottom panel is Pandora running away from someone, and she says that these heroes aren't going to let him take away all the hope and optimism from the universe. And then Manhattan obliterates Pandora, who she created, along with Barry, she created the New 52 universe. So her being killed is pretty fucking important and hasn't been brought up yet. So I don't know how significant her death is. But I feel like for someone, especially part of the Unholy Trinity, along with fucking Spectre and Phantom Stranger, I feel like Pandora's death should at least be more important. So I don't know if they're going to address it in Doomsday Clock sometime soon, which I don't think the DCU has caught up to Doomsday Clock yet, because I think this is after the events of what's currently going on in Detective Comics with Gotham, finding out that Batman has a bunch of different teams he's bankrolling, including one with Clayface, and then there's the Batman, and now in Doomsday, I'll get to Doomsday Clock soon. I'll probably, with most things here, I want to review them volume by volume, but I feel with Doomsday Clock, and maybe, I don't know, the tradebacks for Metal come out in a couple months, so I might just wait to review Dark Knight's Metal, or I might do the I don't know what I'm gonna do for events yet, like Doomsday Clock and Metal. I don't know if I'm gonna go, because if I went back and I did something like Sinestro War, Sinestro War is easy. It's Blackest Night, where there's like 6 volumes of it, and then there's like 4 volumes of Brightest Day, and then there's the tie-in volumes to Blackest Night. So it's like, if I did that issue by issue, that would take fucking forever. But so I don't know what I'm gonna do currently with events, but yeah, I hope in Doomsday Clock they someone asked, hey, where the fuck is Pandora? Also, Phantom Stranger has been gone. The only thing he's appeared in is Neil Adams' Dead Man miniseries that's going on right now, which I don't know where it's, I think they said all the miniseries are in continuity to the DCU. I don't know if that's true, because I don't remember exactly what happens in Captain Atom, but I know something's off. So that's the end of chapter 2, which was titled Legacy. And so next, I don't know why the next person that Wally tries is Grail, but he goes to the cave that Grail was hiding out in with Baby Darkseid, who was pretty much forgotten about until the Wonder Woman chapter with Jason, which in this page, Grail is talking to Baby Darkseid and saying that she found out that Diana has a twin brother that was born of Themyscira on the same night, which in the current Wonder Woman arc, well, not the current one, because right now it's like Silver Swan or Silver Dove or whatever that fucking retard hospital girl's name is. But in the previous arc, Wonder Woman met her twin brother Jason, and he was working with Grail to help kill all the demigods and stuff to get revenge on Wonder Woman, and which helped Darkseid get his power back. And then at that point we had Teenside, and then Teenside killed Zeus and almost got his full power back, and is almost a fully powered Darkseid. But I'll get to that when we talk about Wonder Woman. But anyways, so of course Grail isn't the lightning rod that Wally needs, and neither is Baby Darkseid. And so then in in the next 2 pages, there's a 2-page spread of the fight at the end of New 52 Superman, where Superman went missing, and the Teen Titans are there. Pretty much all the heroes and Argus and the FBI and the police are there, all being like, the fuck happened? And there's Martian Manhunter, and that's the last we see of him until about like a year and a half to 2 years later, with the latest issue of Metal, where like, oh yeah, I've been on this planet fucking around. So Starro's pretty bad, so I'll help you. I don't know if he was waiting there because he knew about Starro and the events of going on with the Dark Multiverse, and he's like, if I wait here, then Hal is gonna be here, and I can help him and Mr. Terrific with... I don't know. I don't know why John was there. Maybe he'll explain it more in Metal number 6 or in the Wild Hunt or in No Justice, since him and Superman and Starro are all on the same team. But anyways, so then the next page is pretty much setting up that Green Arrow and Black Canary have a relationship, and something that was kind of missing in New 52 was relationships. So they kind of focus in this chapter on how relationships are back and stronger than ever in the DCU Rebirth, which makes me happy because I love Black Canary and Green Arrow's relationship. So anyway, the next page is pre-52 Lois and Soups and John hanging out at the motel when Soups is like, oh, I'm gonna go get some lunch, so I'll be right back. And then someone says Clark, and they turns around, and it's Mr. Oz saying, I've been watching you growing up. I've been watching John grow up, and you don't really know who I am, but that doesn't matter. But I'm Mr. Oz. And you're not what you believe you are, and neither was Fallen Superman. And then this starts the whole entire setup of Mr. Oz in the Superman Reborn arc, where it turns when Superman finds another Clark Kent who is exactly just like him, except he has no powers. Then he finds out that, and then at the end of the huge build-up, which is the beginning of Superman Reborn, we find out that the Clark Kent with no powers has been Mr. Mix-all all along, and that kind of the New 52 Lois and Clark have been kind of turned into this blue essence that's been following John. And so Clark and Lois merge with their New 52 counterparts, and then their history gets rewritten so that they keep a majority of their pre-52 history while also keeping some stuff from New 52. I'll talk about that more when I talk about Superman Reborn. I'm just kind of covering things that, because the thing about the Rebirth special is a lot of this was a mystery, and so now that most of it has at least been touched upon, I just wanted to, talk about it all. So, after Mr. Oz kind of disappears, we next cut to, Aquaman and Mira swimming onto the beach, and then Aquaman's like, and Mira's like, why were you here, Arthur? And he's like, for dinner. And then Arthur says, this is the first place we've ever met. This isn't just some deserted island. And Mira's like, and I know it's right over there. And so then Aquaman proposes to Mira, and I have that saved as my wallpaper, and I used it for like fucking 6 months as my wallpaper, and I still do pretty periodically, because Arthur, besides Big Barda and Mr. Miracle, I'd say probably my favorite couple in all of comics is Arthur and Mira, especially since Aquaman is my favorite superhero of all time. So just having a wallpaper of Arthur proposing to Mira makes me extremely happy. So next person that now Wally tries to connect to is Linda, who is his wife, and he had a kid with her. But of course, Linda in New 52 wouldn't know who Wally is. So she's not the lightning rod that he was looking for. And when she says she doesn't know him, it's such a shock that it forces him back into Speed Force. And that's the end of chapter 3, which is Love. And Love was pretty much just to set up that relationships are back and stronger than ever in New 52, in the DC Rebirth universe. And honestly, besides the beginning of Titans, Wally kind of hasn't really done anything with his life, which they just recently touched upon in the prologue to Flash War, which was the Flash annual from last week, where where Barry kind of tells Wally that he hasn't done anything with his life in the past year to year and a half since he's come back from the Speed Force. So Wally tries to make some changes, and we find out that that Zoom or Hunter Zolomon is back in the future, and he's going to make the Flashes go to war with each other. So far, there's no progress with Linda and Wally, but we're just getting there. So after that, is Wally trying to go to anyone he can find, and then we get some panels of things set up, like we get the first appearance of Gotham Girl and Gotham, who, besides Gotham Girl, since Gotham dies at the end of the first Batman arc, Gotham Girl is kind of like there for a couple arcs, which kind of helps set up the I Am Bane arc, which I Am Bane was probably my favorite Batman arc in a while, since the Court of Owls or Endgame. I also like Super Heavy. Super Heavy was pretty good. Anyways, so then Wally tries going to Captain Boomerang and Vic or Cyborg and the Dick or Nightwing, and then he sees the new Wally, and he just doesn't even try, but he knows that this Wally's gonna be a great speedster. So the next person he tries is Barry, and Barry doesn't remember him, but just as Wally gives up hope and he starts fading back in Speed Force, and he's like, I've tried everyone I can. If Barry can't remember me, then there's no one for me to turn to. So just as he's about to be sucked back into Speed Force, Barry grabs his arm and starts crying. It's like, how can I forget? And honestly, when I first read this, even now I'm starting to tear up. Like, I just love this scene so much, and how Barry's like, for these 10 years, I've completely forgotten my student and one of my best friends that I can have, and I've completely forgotten about things that happened before Flashpoint. And so then they hug, and he's like, how could I ever forget you? And then he kind of goes over his history with Wally, and Bear's like, I forgot about the pre-52 universe, and Wally's like, that's not all you forgot, I'll tell you more. And so then they talk for a bit, and Wally's like, it wasn't you, Barry, that messed up the universe, it was something else, or someone else, which refers to Dr. Manhattan, that Wally probably knows what's going on, which the second arc in Titans was called Manhattan, so everyone was because at the time, I think the only things that was really progressing the DC universe was Superman, or Action Comics, I think it was. It was Action Comics, Batman, The Flash, and Titans. And so the next page, we go to Batman walking to his cave, and he looks at the note he got from his father, and he sees a glint in the darkness on one of the walls. So he starts digging into there, and he finds a comedian's button. And then the last panel of dialogue from Wally is "We're being watched," and now it's the end of chapter 4, or Life. And that kind of sets up that the Watchmen are coming to the DC universe. And so then the epilogue is on Mars, and it's the watch from the first page of the special being taken apart. And the dialogue box slowly changed from like a white dialogue box that says "it all worked out in the end" to the blue dialogue box from Watchmen that says "in the end, nothing ends, Adrian, nothing ever ends." And the watch turns into the watch from Watchmen. And the next page is just a watch with blood on it. Says the clock is ticking across the DC universe. And that pretty much sets up Doomsday Clock. And then it's about a year to a year and a half later till Doomsday Clock actually begins. And it's been really fun. The Watchmen Pierce fags can go suck it, because I am loving Doomsday Clock, and I'm loving where Jeff Johns and Gary Frank are taking the DC universe, and I'm excited for whatever happens. So yeah, that's the DC Universe Rebirth special number 1. Now I call it the Rebirth special because that's the only one that's come out, but they call it number 1. So I'm guessing that after Doomsday Clock, we're going to get the DC Universe Rebirth special number 2, where they're going to set up things that are going to be happening after after Doomsday Clock, because I guess it's not going to be called the Rebirth Universe anymore after Doomsday Clock, because why would it be? But it seems that they're already starting to kind of get there, because they just hinted that I don't know if they're going to be ending Justice League, because they just got Priest to start working on it. But there's going to be, besides Justice League and JLA, there's going to be No Justice. And that's going to spin off into other Justice League books, where I guess Brainiac comes and tells Superman that he needs to make a bunch of teams, because there's a threat that's going to be ending the universe, and this is pretty much Scott Snyder's turn to take a tack on writing the Justice League. And I'm pretty hyped for that, and so things are starting to turn, and the Rebirth era of the DCU is starting to end and go into whatever happens after Doomsday Clock. So yeah, I'm excited for the next phase in the DCU, and I'm gonna start reviewing a bunch of Rebirth books, volume by volume. I just felt that I needed to at least cover the DC Rebirth special number 1 before I start going into like Batman Volume 1 or Superman Volume 1. So yeah, that's kind of all there is to this episode of the Some Loser podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and from this point on, I'm not only gonna review things, but I'm gonna start reviewing things a lot more, and hopefully putting out more episodes. And I hope I don't get sick anytime soon again, because it really frustrated me to not put out an episode a week or two ago. But now that I'm feeling better, I'm going to be back to uploading episodes. So I'm Claire Stanfield, and this has been Something New 52.